Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that the adoptive parents have a point for no longer contacting her? My sister gave birth to her twins, boy and girl, in June of 2020. She had been living with me before then after being evicted. I have 3 kids and work full-time, and I told her if she was going to keep her babies, she was going to have to find other living spaces. I have 2 bedrooms and it's cramped already. I'm not sacrificing my room to share with her and 2 newborns. She said okay. When she was 6 months pregnant, she said she was going to give her baby up for adoption and contacted this top adoption agency, and they sent her a pamphlet of potential parents. I was shocked, since she never brought up giving them up for adoptions. I felt guilty, so I told her if she got a job and paid me $400 a month, maybe we could find a 3-bedroom. But she said she doesn't want to be a mom, and that she's made up her mind. She ended up choosing a very wealthy couple for her baby. They both made 6 figures and had a very clean, squeaky look to them. I told her they looked stuck up, and she said she wanted her twins to live an upper-class lifestyle. The agency and couple flew her out to their city in a 5-star hotel for the rest of her pregnancy. It was supposed to be an open adoption, and when my sister came back, they did send pictures once a month by mail. Then when the twins were about 6 months old, all of a sudden they ghosted my sister, deleted all their social media handles to probably create new ones, and even moved. My sister had a breakdown and I was equally shocked. The agency brushed her off and said the parents have the right to do whatever they want, and told her not to call again unless she was pregnant. For weeks, I pitied my sister, until she got drunk and told me something. She said that she texted the adoptive mom that she needed $2,000 because she wants to go back to school or something, and the mom told her she doesn't feel comfortable with my sister messaging her asking for money. And my sister told her that they're beyond rich and that $2,000 is what they spend in a day, so they're not hurting. And that's when they ghosted her. That changed things for me, and I told my sister that she shouldn't have done that, and that maybe they had a point. She started crying. It is still giving me the cold shoulder. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She chose rich parents so she could get something out of it. The adoptive parents realized this and went no contact. Hopefully she realizes her mistake and doesn't pull this if her biological kids ever try to contact her. That's what I thought too. I told her to choose another couple that seemed sweeter, but she only cared about money. Edit for those confused. There's a lot of options to choose from in the book they send you, and my top choice sadly wasn't chosen. I hope they do end up adopting a baby one day, whoever they are. They seemed very chill. My sister said she wanted her kids to have rich parents. I don't think choosing a couple that seemed sweeter would have really helped the situation. Even the sweetest couple ever would be questioning her motives and ability to maintain healthy boundaries after asking for money like that, which I also suspect was a greater amount than $2,000. I have a feeling that there was more than just asking for $2,000 that led them to not only cut off contact, but delete their socials and move. You're definitely not a home. Me too, but sadly I think I shut her out and she won't ever tell me the full truth. She's a very impulsive spender, so I see her asking for way more than that. Maybe that was the last straw, and they actually sent her money before in the past. I'm not sure. Not a home. It sounds like sister was hoping the adoptive parents would be a cash cow for her, but once the adoption is final, they hold all the cards. Yep. She thought that on top of the 5-star hotel, that they would continue to give her money. She acted like they sold them her children, and they still owe her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my daddy let my mom down? My parents were married for 24 years. I, 22 female, am their only child together. My dad had 2 sons and a daughter with his first wife. When I was a kid, they shared custody until their mom was sent to jail for something she did to my mom. Before that, she really made sure my half-siblings hated my mom, and they treated her terribly. They called CPS on her twice, claiming she was mistreating them, which she wasn't. And the second time, my mom moved out with me, so my dad could be the only adult in the home with them. They stayed married and they tried to work on a family unit, but my siblings weren't interested. And as soon as their mom got released, they moved in with her and we moved back in with my dad. Dad still chased my half-siblings and tried to make us a family. My mom was diagnosed with cancer when I was 11, and she fought like hell for 11 years. My dad ended up being her caregiver, and he did a good job in some ways, but he left her exposed to my half-siblings. I want to say I blame them, but I know none of it would have happened without their mom. Still, when 14-year-old me found my half-sister telling my mom she couldn't wait for her to die, and how her mom was going to piss and defecate all over her grave and smear it everywhere, and my dad had asked my half-sister to stay with my mom, I knew there was also something wrong with them, because she was 20 at the time of the incident. It broke my mom. But she was fighting so hard to stay alive, she forgot to fight for making her life overall better. My mom died 2 months ago. She wanted to live longer for me, but cancer took hold of her. My dad chased my half-siblings down and begged them to come to the funeral. He tried to encourage them to help us plan and be with us. My oldest half-brother showed up the night before the funeral to tell us his mom and siblings were so freaking glad she was dead, and the world was a better place without my mom, because she was nothing but a nasty W who married someone else's sloppy seconds. I kicked him out so damn fast, but I was pissed at my dad too. I didn't tell him last week, as I mostly ignored him after the funeral, but he kept pushing lately, and so I replied. I told him he failed us. He let my mom down when she needed him the most, and he chose 3 people so full of hatred that they act like monsters. I told him I couldn't even look at him. A lot of my dad's siblings got involved because they feel I was too harsh after the loss he suffered, and now it's making me feel a tiny bit bad. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your dad put you and your mom through horrible treatment for years for the sake of trying to form a family bond with his first family. Not the a-hole. I was waiting for someone to mention that Opie got traumatized due to the spineless dad. Opie, you have to start a new life for yourself. And if you want to go low contact or no contact with your dad, that is up to you. Cut anyone who was not/is not supportive of you. Have therapy and live a good life, and leave them to karma to find them. Don't let them all mess with you too. Not the a-hole. Sounds like your father let a lot of people down, including your half-siblings who never learned to properly cope with or accept the fact that he moved on from their mother and remarried. That was a failure on the adults in your family, and how they managed communication amongst you all while growing up. There is, however, no excuse for how they treated your mother, and I agree that her care and comfort should have been the priority. I don't know. An adult came to say they were happy Opie's mom died? Sounds like they're just at the core not good people. Please never speak to your half-siblings again. I don't understand how you don't hate them. I'm petty, and the hatred I would feel for them would be never-ending. Never have any contact with them or any kids they may have. Not the a-hole. You told the truth after I kept pushing it. Where were all these aunts and uncles while the stepkids were being monsters to your mom? Did they tell the stepkids they were being too harsh and downright hateful to your mom? No? Then ignore them. Sorry about your mom. Peace and kindness to you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to get rid of my daddy's #1 princess t-shirt? I, 20 female, lost my dad 2 years ago, and since then, it's been revealed that he had another daughter, Amanda, 25 female. Before my dad met my mom, he was involved with another woman and dumped her when he found out that she was engaged to another man. The guy was military and overseas, so my dad had no way of contacting him, and he didn't know the woman well enough to reach out to any mutual friends, although my dad did later regret not trying harder. Unbeknownst to my dad, he accidentally got her pregnant, and she tried to pass Amanda off as her fiancée, but it didn't work. She eventually married someone else but later divorced, and the guy completely cut contact. Because of this, Amanda always wanted to know who my dad was, and tried reaching out to him but didn't have much luck because, again, they didn't know each other long. My dad wasn't from there. He moved away and changed his contact information. Eventually, Amanda got a hit through 23andMe through my cousin and reached out. By that time, my dad was already gone, but his parents, siblings, and their children were more than welcoming. My brother and I were pretty weirded out by this, and since our dad wasn't on her birth certificate, we didn't believe her until there was a DNA test. I wish I could say that this was a magical moment where we all hugged and are now besties, but honestly, I don't feel this strong familial tie to her because I didn't grow up with her. My brother says he feels the same, but we both make the effort to be nice when she's around. Now, up until Amanda came around, I was my dad's only daughter, and because of this, he had a lot of daddy's favorite daughter type of things because I was his only daughter at the time. It was like a fun little joke between us. Out of all the things he's given me in relation to this theme that I cherish most, is a custom-made t-shirt he got me with a picture of us at a father-daughter dance when I was 12, and a caption, Daddy's #1 princess. It was one of the last things my dad ever gave me, and I love it very much. I never showed it to Amanda, but I guess someone else told her, and she gently confronted me about it and asked me to get rid of it and anything like this. She expressed how she's been in therapy to cope with never having a true father figure, and that her actual father died before ever meeting her, and knowing that I was his favorite daughter is really upsetting her. I told her that while I am sad about the situation and won't ever bring it up around her, I am not getting rid of it. I thought Amanda and I had an understanding, until my aunt called and berated me for not being respectful to my sister's feelings, and that getting rid of a t-shirt that I don't even wear is a small sacrifice, because I at least have the memories of having a loving father while Amanda doesn't. Am I the a-hole? Edited to add, because I keep seeing this, I just wanted to clarify certain things. 1. My mom and dad were never married, and broke up before I was born, and I'm currently living with her, so that's where the bulk of my daddy's number one princess type of things are there, and Amanda has no reason to come to my mom's house, so I'm not worried about things going missing. 2. I've spoken to my brother, and he agrees that so long as I don't wear them or bring them up around Amanda, I should have the right to keep them. 3. My grandparents are trying to stay neutral in this because they see both sides to the argument. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Amanda is the one not respectful of your feelings. How can she ask you to get rid of your memories from your father? She just sounds jealous. Given the situation, I wouldn't be surprised, but I also wouldn't blame her. I wouldn't blame her either, but I do blame your aunt for not minding her own business. Not the a-hole. If family's coming after you, you should pack up these types of mementos and put them somewhere safe. One of them could take it upon themselves to get rid of something they think you shouldn't have. I second this. People do weird stuff, and this sounds like something your aunt would do, or convince someone to do, to try to make Amanda happy. Not the a-hole. Absolutely not the a-hole. You were objectively the favorite if he never even met her, first off. Her loss isn't your responsibility to deal with. Your memories and keepsakes from your father are 100% yours to hold on to. I have 2 siblings, and when I give my mom a present, I always sign it, "From your favorite child," even though we all know she loves us equally. But no one is ever offended, because that's just silly. My brother does the same thing. He is the only boy in the family, so he often signs presents or cards with "From your favorite son/brother/sibling." But we all know it's a complete joke, and no one is offended. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not forcing my son, 11 male, to like his stepsister, 15 female? I, 29 female, had my son, 11 male, with my ex. My son is autistic and does not like it when people touch his belongings. When I had him, my ex decided he didn't want to be a father and abandoned us. My parents were lifesavers, and they took care of him when I had to attend college classes. I work full-time now and live in a great apartment. My ex reached out when son turned 8 and wanted to meet him. I brought him to a nearby park and we came to an agreement that son can stay with ex every other weekend. I bought my son a Switch for his 8th birthday, and he brings it with him everywhere. My ex also has been seeing a girl for the past couple of months who has a daughter, 15 female. My son came back home yesterday and didn't speak to me at all when I picked him up. I was extremely worried and called my ex when I got home. And he told me that son wasn't letting girlfriend's daughter play on the Switch, and he grabbed it out of son's hand. Girlfriend's daughter dropped it down the stairs, and it has a huge crack in the screen. I went to talk to my son and told him that I would be happy to get him a new Switch and any game that he wants. He was very happy, but told me that he didn't want to go back to ex's house anymore because the daughter was mean to him. And I told him that I was not going to force him to do anything he didn't want. Now my ex wanted to take my son this coming weekend, and I told him that we had plans to go to a theme park and that son didn't want to go over to the house anymore. I told my ex it's because the daughter made my son very uncomfortable. My ex flipped out and accused me of keeping son away from him, but I had enough at that point and hung up on ex. Am I the a-hole for not forcing son to like girlfriend's daughter? Edit. I do have full custody of my son and did suggest having ex come over to the apartment, but he refused. Not the a-hole. He's being a prick to your son and abandoned you and your son 11 years ago. He doesn't suddenly have a claim over him. Yeah, I don't think I'd rush the son into hanging out with the father overnight. Maybe for a couple hours. The father is a stranger to the child. I'm wondering if the dad's girlfriend suggested he get back into the kid's life because the girlfriend has a kid of her own? Not the a-hole. That 15-year-old is a huge a-hole for trying to steal and subsequently breaking a child's toy. She should know better. He's also autistic, so she should be extra aware of being tactful. You said he doesn't want to be around the daughter, not the father. His father can visit him without the daughter, or have him over when she's not there. The reaction to the daughter breaking the son's property is quite telling. Not a lot was mentioned about it, and therefore I deduced that not much was done. Not much was done probably due to the fact the father is trying to appease his girlfriend. Take into account that's not even his daughter. It sounds like he's putting more consideration into his stepdaughter's sentiments than his own son. I could be completely off base. He also refused other arrangements, like meeting at another place. I really don't care if the kid is 1, 11, or 111. If you damage my property, you are obligated to make amends. And it would only be reasonable for the kid not to trust him. I don't see the father being an advocate for his son in this in any of the information given. And damn it, I wish I was wrong on this. He is using his own son as a pawn in a game of clout. I think the son is a sharp kid. It is catching on. Not the a-hole. Your ex is trying to impress his new potential squeeze. It is an a-hole. Be careful about violating court orders and the long-term impact that might have on you. I was ordered full custody of my son. I have no wish for letting my ex see my son, but I want son to be comfortable. I did suggest ex coming over to the apartment, but he refused.